Today I'm going to show you how to create LinkedIn sliders utilizing Canva. When we do this, we're going to break the process down into two steps. The first being what is your background, and the second is your context. So first we have an example here with a plain white background and a picture and the text. So this is a great place to start. First, you need to create a new design. You can use any size you want. The format that I chose is a little wider, which is set to, I believe, 1350 by 1080. So you can use that to create your design size. And when you create that, Canva is immediately going to suggest lots of different formats or backgrounds for you on the left-hand side here. So you can look through any of those and apply it to your design and utilize them. That's a great, simple, easy way to start. And I highly recommend that you go ahead and try some of those out. They're very well designed templates and can save you a lot of time. If you want to be a little bit more creative and just create your own designs, you can do that too. And that's what I'm going to do here, is walk you through a couple examples and how you can create them. As I said, we break it down into two pieces, which is the background and the text. And this is a plain white background, so I will go ahead and start with that. The next part is actually the picture, which we can use an element. And in the elements section, we have frames. We'll go ahead and show all the frames. You can choose this one right here, which is round. However, because I've used this tool before, I know that there's one here a little further down that's a slight variation that is more in line with what is being used on this example, and that's a round one with a border. You can see we've got a fat border and we've got a skinny border here. So if you pull that up onto your page, we can add that in, and because it is a frame, it has this cloud background, which allows you then to go ahead and drag a picture into this spot, and it'll just appear within that circular frame. Here's a picture of myself that I have in my uploads. I can just go ahead and drag that into the frame, and there you see it's only within that circle. Another thing that I highly recommend that you do is get your corporate logo and add that to the bottom of every page or somewhere. This is because these are actually documents, and in LinkedIn, somebody can download your document. So you want to make sure your content is well branded, so that way if it's used and passed along, you can make sure that that person is crediting you appropriately. Now all we have to do is add some text. I'll drop in a heading, and you can see it gives you a little bit of a border there. I'll right align it. That way I can also add a little bit of text to the body. And as you can see, it can grow. And then finally a subheading, and left align that as well. And we've got the same basic format. He chose to center them. I like the left align, but that's personal preference. These are my brand colors, and I can give it a darker background, change the text to white so it pops a little bit. And then finally on my frame, change the color there to orange, and everything's on brand. So there we go. There's example number one. And now I'll go on to another more complicated example. This next example might look a lot more complicated, but it's really not. If you look at this, we've got a flashy background. If you just go ahead and find a similar type of image, you can go ahead and use that. I went out and searched on the web and found this type of a background. Here in the middle, we've got another picture. This is just a caricature picture versus a normal picture, so we can use the same exact technique we used before. Since I already did this, I can actually just copy and paste it, bring it down here. Sorry for all the scrolling. There we go. Resize it. And we've got that right in the middle. If we look here, all we've got is some text and a logo. So same thing here. We could just grab a heading, LinkedIn. Maybe because of the colors I chose, use a white font. The LinkedIn logo right here you can upload, and cheat sheet is just a different type of font or flavoring of a font. So what we can do is just make another header, call it cheat sheet. Move it into place here, and I'll change it again to white so you can see it a little better, and we'll add some effects to it. And that's the difference, is that's more of a neon effect. If you change the color to a bright green or maybe a yellow, you can see we've got a similar format. So even though this looks a lot different, it really is very similar to our previous example. One other thing that you could do is with these very bright backgrounds, it can be a little bit difficult for your text to really come through. And this is a technique that is very popular. If we get out of the frames and we just go to a shape, we add a shape on here, and we'll make this black. And then take our transparency down to, let's say, 70%. We'll position that all the way to the back and drag it out over the size of the background. Then we can let that text pop through, and you can see that we've lost a lot of our blue color, so we can bring that transparency down, let's say 18%. And what that does is allows that background of the color to still to come through, yet it helps our text shine through a little bit. So there is example number 2. Here with example number 3, if you look, the background is really just a bunch of pictures. It's a collage. So the first thing we'll need to do is create a background using a collage of different photos. I didn't have a whole lot of different pictures of myself, so what I did was I just took one picture, duplicated it over and over again, flipped some upside down to give it a little bit of variety. So there is my background. This, again, very time consuming. Feel free to play with it yourself, get a bunch of different pictures. But overall, it's it's not complicated. It's just time consuming to put that together. Now that the background is created, if you look back at our example, you can see that they're using the same exact approach of putting a black filter on top of that. So I can again get my box, make it black, turn my transparency down to around 20, and stretch it out over my entire background here. And you'll see now that I've got the same effect. In this case, the background is a little darker. So just trying to be similar to the example. We could play around with that and see what actually works for you. Sorry, I forgot one more thing, which was the border, which again is an element, and that's a shape. And we can add that in. There we go. Put that around. Utilize brand colors, and there you have it. For a final example, I'm just going to talk through exactly what's been done. Here you can see again the process that we've used before, which is there's a background with a black filter on top of it. This one much less see-through, so we may want to just pull some kind of an abstract background picture in the foreground, which is a PNG, which we've done before, and again some text. And this is utilizing a background or a square behind the text, so that way it pops even more. And if you see here, that's my replication of it. The thing that I noticed that was different about Shay's posts is that she has a different background on every single page. The technique that is used is the same, but the background is different every page, so it's just a lot more work. Here we can see we've got a picture, we put a filter on top of it, or you could just filter the picture itself to give it that black and white format. We've got the text here and just different fonts, and utilizing a square or a rectangle to put behind your text. So it's really just repeating the same techniques over and over again. Let me see. Yes, so there's a little bit of a duplication of how I would do that. Here I created a shape, rectangle box, and put it behind the text, so that way again we can have more things popping. And in this example, also make sure that you have your logo on the bottom, because these things can be downloaded. So I hope this was helpful. If there is a particular slider that you have seen and you would like to reproduce it, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to help you with that.